How you doing, guys? This is Eric from RuleTheWasteland.com and SecretOfTheInternet.com. What I have today I'm pretty excited about is a giant Battlbox. The guys from Battlbox.com, if you put in the URL, remember there's no E in it, it's just B-A-T-T-L box. There'll be links in the description. They sent me this Battlbox to do a review on. I'm not getting paid to do the review, but they did send me the box. So I'm excited to see what's in there. If you guys haven't heard of Battlbox, it's similar to Survivalist Box that I've talked about before, in that it is a monthly subscription program that they'll send you different types of gear and things like that. And they have different size boxes. And in this case, I believe they have four: $25, $50, $100, and $150. This, I believe, is the Pro Plus, which is the highest level. The $150 box, I believe. So I'm assuming it's packed with all sorts of cool stuff. And as opposed to Survivalist Box, which is mostly survival and camping, I believe this is more tactical type stuff, maybe. I'm not sure, we'll find out. But it's not specifically in any category that I know of other than just, I don't know, tactical gear type things. So right now I've got my Voyager. And I have not opened this at all yet. But I do know it's heavy and it's big. And these guys, I know it's a monthly subscription. You can cancel at any time. It's not for a whole year or anything like that. And you can upgrade if you decide you want the bigger box. And I believe these are designed to be sort of themed with like a mission statement. So most of the items, or at least many of them, will be oriented towards whatever the mission is for that box. And not all of them will be totally on whatever the theme is, but each box I think has a generic general theme to it. And there you see survival and tactical gear delivered monthly. And here we got the paper. See what we got in here. I'm pretty stoked. Alright, first off is a all-purpose tarp, 12 by 9 by 6 feet. Pretty cool. I like the little handy case that's in here. Let's see if I can open this. I could have used this on a camping trip that I just went on. Awesome camping trip, but in one place. Okay, it's like a coyote brown, lightweight, like a ripstop pattern tarp here. Pretty cool. 12 feet by 9 feet. Not a bad item for sure. Great for camping. Great for, you can do water collection with the tarp like that. Make field expedient shelters. You can do all sorts of stuff with a tarp. And that one's also colored so you can hide things if you needed to in some sort of bug out scenario, depending on your environment, whether it's more desert-like or sandy. You could cover up certain things. Gorilla Clips, the world's strongest tarp clip. All right, so speaking of the tarp, we now have a method of attaching the tarp. I could have also used this on the trip. You could use that as a tent ground cover, whatever, and also you can just smash the tarp in there, and as you slide them together, it pinches it, and then you can tie that up with some cordage. So this is a good way of tying off your tarp without having to put a hole in it, or if it doesn't have a grommet or something like that. Seems like that would be pretty useful for those. The world's strongest tarp clip. The harder you pull, the tighter the grip. Yeah, and as you can see from the way it works, the more it pulls, the more it would smash it together. So, pretty useful. Especially if you happen to have a tarp. And this is a pocket chainsaw. Seen some like this. These luckily have the handles, and this is actually, as you can see, an actual chain with rivets and everything. It's not just a wire, so that's cool. Makes it a little bit bigger, but also makes it work a hell of a lot better, be a little more robust, and especially with these handles, you're not going to tear up your hand. Sometimes the ones, well, they're much, much smaller, so depending on what your goals are, you may want to go with those over these, but they just have a ring on it, and it's really, if you are going to use the ring one, or if these break, you can always cut a stick. Just use a stick, put it through the ring, and then do it. Just a quick tip. But this is useful for camping and survival. You probably want to take it out of this plastic before packing. Even though this is protective, it takes up a lot of space. But yeah, pretty useful. Pocket chainsaw, world's fastest cutting pocket saw. Ooh, so we got two items here that are the world's superlative for whatever they are so far. It's not off to a bad start. World's strongest tarp clip and the world's fastest cutting pocket saw. That's pretty cool. Guess it depends on who's using it though, right? Let's see what else we got. Oh, this is they have skill challenges in here related to the mission. So in this one, SITREP, that means situational report for you people who weren't in the military. Skill challenge, build a shelter. Your box contents this month contains many different types of tools to aid in the cutting of limbs. Okay, so that's the theme we're seeing here with the tarp clip, the pocket chainsaw. Our mission is building a shelter, and we should have most of them in here necessary for building a field expedient shelter. We've been really excited to ship a box like this for nearly a year now. We were able to send you some of these great tools. The Smith's Tinder Maker. Well, I don't want to find out what's in here. I'd like to find out. So then they have different, it shows what the, what am I blanking? Retail value of the items in here are. So it gives you your mission card in here so you can see what these are oriented towards, and if you want to, go out and try to practice whatever that skill is. Elk Ridge, what do we got? I hope this is elk jerky. I don't know why. I'm just really hungry right now. I don't think it is, but if it is, I'm just gonna eat it because I'm freaking starving. Sometimes I forget to eat. It's weird. And then I wonder why I'm feeling so shitty. Okay. Oh well, it's an axe. I may still eat it. This is actually a pretty cool little axe. It's got what looks like a... I can't tell if that's a wood handle or if it's just textured like wood. Looks like wood. Excellent little... Is that a snap? Yeah. So it snaps open. And we have a cool little survival axe here. Full tang, which is important for tools that you're going to be abusing, potentially in a survival situation. Has 3 different size angled holes that you can use for wrenches. That's what that's designed for. A quick cutter. And potentially also a bottle opener, depending on how you use it. You can use this for a skinner, is what I meant. A skinner, cutting webbing or seatbelt or something like that. These smaller ones are a little harder to use a lot of times for serious chopping because they just don't have the weight to them, but this is fairly hefty. I would guess it's over half a pound or close to it. Now the good thing about something like this is, while you may not be able to get the same amount of chopping power as you could with a real axe, obviously this is a hell of a lot easier to carry than a full-size axe, and you can use it for batoning, where you get it into a stick and then hit with another stick to split off smaller pieces and not worry about damaging your regular knife. So you can use it for shelter preparation type stuff like that. I do like that it has the shape here so you can grab it a little closer if you need to. I'm not sure if that's what that's for, but it gives it different options for finger there, all the way down on the handle. And the structure of this too makes it so that the blade gets there before your fingers, so you're not likely to wrap your knuckles, which you sometimes can with a regular machete. Not normally with a regular axe, but this would probably fill the function more of a bigger knife, chopping knife or a machete. Feels like it's pretty sharp. So Elk Ridge. I like this. Definitely looks cool and feels cool. Cool deal. Let me put it back in its box. Alright. Next up, this is heavy. What is this? Oh wait, I cannot tell what that is. It feels like, I'm going to try and guess what it is before I turn it over. Almost feels like it's a piece of chainmail or wire? What the hell is that? We'll find out in a second. Oh, I think it's just a weight for a tarp or something. It's a bag of some sort of shot, I think. 300 grams, 10.6 ounces. Let's see if this will say on my little card what this is for. I'm shaking the camera. Let's see on here. Let me see. We got the Elk Ridge axe, pocket chainsaw, tinder maker, cleats, tarp clips. Maybe it's just a big keychain for Battlebox or something. Let's see if it says in here. Or just a weight of some kind. A little too big to be a keychain. Doesn't look like it opens. Alright, well, your guess is as good as mine. Guessing it's a weight. This one's nice and big. Let's see what we got. Aha! Nice. I was just talking about the machetes. This is sort of halfway in between a knife and a machete. Feels like it has a, what's that material called? I can't remember. I don't remember all the plastics. But this is a Outdoor Edge Survival Series. Large survival knife slash machete. It's got some nice patterns on there. Oh, that's not a pattern. This is they have a nice coating of protective grease. This is the Saberback Bowie. All right. Definitely cool looking. Too bad it didn't come with that pattern on there. That's pretty cool looking, but that's just from the plastic and the little bit of protective oil on there. So I guess the idea is you use this to chop down some of the branches for your shelter. Also razor sharp, so that's good. And it has what looks to be an actually functional saw blade on the back. Yeah, that's definitely functional. See if I can get it to focus. No. There we go. Yeah, these are actually very sharp. So that's a functional saw on the back too that you can get to work at. False edge on the back there though. Spear tip, nice belly on there for chopping. Pretty cool. Now, anytime I've done these like survival box, and I'm sure this one, people always say things about like the quality of the some of the items, and like, yeah, obviously this is not going to be like a Bussy or whatever that brand is, Bowie knife or something that costs $350. Because this is a $150 box, so everything in here, and that's still cheaper than retail prices that you would get buying all the same exact things. So is this going to be some super highest quality machete that you've ever seen? No. Is it functional? Sure. Great stuff like this is great for throwing in your car kit or something, because you can't have the best version of everything everywhere if you're going to have multiple kits. And something like this, it's not that you're not necessarily going to need to use all the time if it's in a car kit or something, but will work perfectly fine for heavy use for, you know, at least a little while. Good to keep in a kit like that. That way your really high use stuff that you use all the time, you can keep out where you can get to it and not have to stow it away. Because otherwise what will happen is you'll end up putting your really good stuff in the kit, you keep pulling it out to use it, and then when all of a sudden when you actually need to use the kit, your gear isn't in there because you've pulled it out to actually use it. But it's too expensive to buy multiple versions of the best of everything usually. So get something like this and you have little backups for everything. What do we got here? Oh, nice. It's like a cheese grater, but I assume it's for making tinder. That's pretty funny. That'll actually save you from having to do some heavy or light batoning with really small pieces, which can be hard sometimes. This is the Spanish side. This is the natural tinder maker with fire starter. That's pretty cool. I'd never seen something like this before. So as long as you're in an area where, so it has the ferrosium rod in there. It has the a little steel striker on it, and I like that it's encased in the plastic, so it gives you a way to actually put some pressure on there. Now, one thing that I used a fire steel like this on my latest camping trip on the first fire to start a fire from spark with lint, just because I like doing that stuff. Every fire after that I started with one match, with the exception of one I used 2 matches because the wind blew it out as soon as I struck it. Shit happens. But I had multiple ways to start a fire just in case. And just a tip, when you're doing this, One thing that I've seen people mess up the most often is they hold the stick steady and then they move the metal trying to get sparks to fly into the whatever their tinder is. The better solution is to build up your pile of tinder, stick the rod on it, put your steel right up next to it, stick the rod on it, and then draw the rod away. You're much less likely to disrupt the tinder by hitting it. You can get a lot closer without doing that, and the sparks are right there and go right into it without disrupting the tinder. Much better way to do it. So this thing is pretty cool. Obviously what you do is you use it like a cheese grater to take a stick of some kind and shave it into little pieces, little slivers that would take a flame super easily. Pretty cool. And then it also stores your fire steel in there. I kind of like that. I'll have to do a test on this thing to see how well it works. Now I'm sure one of the considerations that you'll have to make with something like this is that the wood would have to be very dry. You're not going to be able to take soggy wood and turn it into good tinder just by... I'll figure out how to fit that later. Just by making it small, but you could do something like use one of your axes or machetes or something you've got, crack open a log till you get the inside, which is dry, then make smaller pieces out of it. So next up, I'm guessing this might be a folding saw or something. Tree gear. Wicked tree gear, it says. Yep, that's what it is. Pretty cool. How do I open this? Do I need to... Let's see what we got. I guess I need to... There we go. It's got a spring-loaded button. So when you pull that, it's got a fairly coarse blade pattern, which is good for, you know, trees that have bark and stuff on them. You need to blast through it, and also it does it much quicker. It takes a little bit more force, but it'll blast through it much quicker. It's a little folding saw with a case, and I like that this case is actually fairly firm too, so it stays open and you can just throw it in there. Fairly lightweight too. That saw overall is not very heavy. And it's also got like a Fast-X style buckle on the back here if you wanted multiple ways to attach to something. Pretty cool. So now I've got multiple ways, and this obviously looks like an axe and saw combo. Let me put this back, which I won't take the time to cut open this thing right now, but this is pretty cool. So as you can see here, it's a camp axe with a built-in saw. So you have like a bow saw. 4-in-1 Woodsman. It's actually by Zippo too, which is pretty cool. I didn't know they'd really branched out into a lot of other stuff like this. You got a camp hatchet, wood saw, staker, which is the back of the hammers, or the back of the thing is made like a flat side, like a hammer. So you can, which is interesting because on this camping trip that I just went on, one of my buddies brought a larger axe like this. I couldn't bring it because I was flying over there, and we did use the axe as a hammer. It was a little bit less broad of an edge, so it probably wouldn't have worked as well as this one. And yeah, and it actually has a stake puller too, which can come in handy when you've really driven them in there, to use the bottom of this thing to grab some stakes and pull them out. Pretty cool. So now you have multiple ways, according to this thing, to complete your mission of chopping down trees to make a shelter. You've got this, the saw, and the wire saw. And this saw. Then you've got your Bowie knife, which is right here, and your camp axe to do some of the smaller work if you need to. Pretty good setup to get all the limbs you need for your shelter. And then you got the tarp weight, which is what I'm going to call this thing until I find out otherwise, to hold it down, and the clamps to hold it in place and tie it off. Now this is a paracord cleat. Oh, I've seen these before too. These are pretty cool. So what they are is like a the really small compact version, sort of like a come along. Not really, because it doesn't ratchet, but it doesn't make you have to tie off every time with a knot. You can use these, and by looping it through them, it'll just pinch. That way, if it's something that you're going to be taking up and down a lot and you don't want to have to do knots every time, or something you may be adjusting frequently, like a tarp for your shelter, these are really good. These are incredibly lightweight. I mean, this weighs like a penny. It's like it feels like aluminum, incredibly lightweight. And it'll handle paracord in a bunch of different ways, which it shows you on here. You loop through one way and tie it off. So it's sort of like a, a mooring thing for a boat, similar. And it's got gripping little fingers there. Pretty cool. So yeah, so the mission on this is to, oh, here you go. Got some coupons too. They send you for other vendors. So you got all sorts of deals. Cool deal. Nicely done. Yeah, so it's interesting, and I like the idea that it's themed. That's kind of cool, and I've seen that. I know Survivalist Box has done that as well. Some of the other ones. This is pretty cool. And so check them out, guys. This is what they got in the most recent Pro Plus box. But they also have I think 4 total different subscriptions that you can go for. Check out battlbox.com with no E, BATTLBOX. And then it's ongoing. So you may get one, then the next one could be, and probably will be, something completely different with a different mission, but all related to survival, outdoor, tactical type gear like that. Something along those lines. It's fairly interesting. Let me know what you guys think. For me, the highlights of this one so far is actually this little thing. Probably one of the cheapest things in here. And these will come in handy for sure. Nice thing to have in any bag, super lightweight. That tinder thing I like. Obviously the tools are always useful. The tarp is nice because I don't really have all I had right now were those cheap blue tarps. So to have one that's a little, probably not only is it tougher, it's also lighter and a better color. It's not a bright blue. So pretty cool, guys, but this is the sort of stuff that you would get with a battle box if you want to check them out. Like I said, I wasn't paid to do this, but I did get the box for free. Full disclosure. Definitely digging it. Check them out on battlebox.com, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching.